Forging IT. Forging IT security experts. Secure Ninja.
Hi everyone, I'm Alicia Webb with Secure Ninja TV. We are living in a Web 2.0 world where there are so many different ways to post information about ourselves online. Most of us have a blog or use Twitter or Facebook to basically update the world about what's going on in our lives. But what we don't think about is how many different ways this information could be collected and used against us or our company, especially if we work for a large corporation. Here at Secure Ninja, we're offering a new training course that focuses on cyber intelligence. And today I'm going to be speaking with the instructor of the course, Jeff Bardin. Jeff, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing fine today. It's great to see you.
Great to see you too. Could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Certainly. My background actually in this area started years ago in the Air Force, where I was trained to be an Arabic linguist, actually a cryptologic linguist. So our job at the time was actually to intercept and break codes and ciphers in the language and then actually translate it after the breaking of the codes and ciphers. And this is kind of the basis for some of the intel work and research that I've been doing over the years. I've got about 25 years in IT. I've been a CIO. I've been in very large companies. I've been a CISO for organizations as well, financial services, insurance. And I do a lot of work in the government space today through my own organization, Treadstone 71. For about 12 years now, I've really been focused in the security space and gotten all the requisite certifications and gone through the lifestyle of being a CISO, which is now very glamorous, as people may like to make it out to be. When it comes to cyber intelligence, though, I've been teaching this at the master's level in college for 2 years now, and I've decided to take this out to the commercial space in a 1-week course. So not only cyber intelligence, but counterintelligence, open source intelligence, and cybercrime are the courses that I've been teaching regularly now to master's programs. So with Secure Ninja, we're taking this out into the commercial world, and it's a unique program today. I'll get a little bit more into that as we go on.
Excellent. How about giving us a brief overview of cyber intelligence?
Well, the cyber intelligence is, as we teach it, and are going to teach it, and have been teaching it, is really much different than most people teach it today. Most people think of firewalls and perimeter security and intrusion detection systems and the type of intelligence you gather there. The way we're teaching it is really the virtual manifestation of a physical tradecraft. And by that, I mean taking traditional intelligence methods and using them in the cyber world. So it is much different. We look at the cyber intelligence life cycle, which is targeting and data collection and gathering, producing that into an organized form that you can actually start to analyze it. And the analysis gets to multiple different areas of analysis before you come out with disseminating your report, which really looks like a series of recommendations and possible opportunities for those that you're creating the intelligence. So we look at the Web 2.0 world and social networking, and we take a lot of the cultural, historical, linguistic, and human aspects of intelligence and apply it to the virtual world. And it makes a very unique course.
Now, how exactly is cyber intelligence applicable to the current state of information security?
Well, today, some people call it advanced persistent threat, which I have a real hard time with that term because it really comes down to cyber espionage. And what you have is our adversaries out there, nation states, foreign intelligence services, cyber criminals, hacktivists, even industrial espionage. They're looking to find the least path of resistance into your environment. In many ways, they'll go out to the internet and look at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, blog postings, websites of your organization, and they'll start to gather data points. They put these data points together, they organize it into intelligence. And through that, they find ways into your organization. And most organizations don't even look at this as a potential attack surface. And so all these people are out there with this huge, broad attack surface in the Web 2.0 world, in the social networking world, they know nothing about. Yet that's where their adversaries are collecting information and turning it into actionable intelligence to penetrate their environments. These folks are really, they may come at you and have a feint looking at your firewall intrusion detection when they're really coming in the back door through one of your users and gathering information. There's an amazing amount of information to be gathered in the social networking site about your organization.
That's scary. What types of things could potentially happen if someone doesn't practice or use cyber intelligence?
Well, it's proven today that penetration happens all the time. These organizations are well funded. They are targeting you and your organization. And if you don't apply countermeasures, and I guess let's talk about what some of these countermeasures could be. You want to actually constantly be scanning your Web 2.0 space to know what you've got. Most organizations have more than one LinkedIn site, more than one Facebook site. Users are controlling it, so they don't even know, who they're friending. The whole game in Facebook is the number of friends. Right? That's the whole idea. The more friends I have, the better I am, the better person I am, whatever it is, the better I look out there. Right? It really has no bearing on anything other than I have more friends. The fact is, most people don't know half of their friends. There's people out there that'll have thousands, but the human mind, based on a concept called the Dunbar number, says that only about 120 friends is all you can really sustain and know. So if you've got over that number, then you probably don't know these people. And there are many personas that these foreign intelligence agencies, nation states, hacktivists will create, and you think it looks like a young, attractive woman or a young man or someone that fits the profile of what you're looking for. And in fact, you'll friend them, and they'll start to mine your information. They'll friend your friends, and they get well into your network. So monitoring these areas, putting controls in these areas, having a program in your organization to track this, monitoring your social presence, conducting open source intelligence reviews, developing a strategy around this is absolutely critical. These are some of the things we talk about in the course. They use this information to get into your organization. And once they're in, they use it to actually install keystroke loggers, establish a beachhead for a botnet where you can have command and control, where they're exfiltrating data from your organization. They do it low and slow. They do it as part of standard protocols. And most organizations have no idea that they're actually been infiltrated and they're penetrated, because they're really focusing on the traditional aspects of information security.
Right. What are some of the features, advantages, and benefits of attending the Cyber Intel course?
Well, the first thing is you're going to be taught some of the traditional intelligence tradecraft, and the whole time as you look at the traditional, it's always going to be aligned and mapped to the cyber world. So we'll look at what's called Sherman-Kent's analytic doctrine, and we apply that and have mapped it into the cyber world. We talk about link analysis and pattern analysis using different open source tools. We'll look at trends, tendencies. We'll try and identify what the adversaries are doing. What you really want to know is what your adversaries know about you. Because once you know that, you can actually remediate some of these issues. Once you remediate these issues, you can actually reduce your cyber attack surface. And if your attack surface has been reduced, then the likelihood of penetration through those areas is reduced as well. So there's live exercises in the course. I can't talk about them here because they're sensitive, and we will perform live exercises. You learn how to be anonymous. So when you go online, your IP can't be identified, and there are multiple ways to do that. Well, you'll learn about open source tools, how to use these tools to gather information, how to actually analyze information that you've collected. So it's not just theory. There's a lot of hands-on activity in this. Mm-hmm. Lab exercises that are live on the internet at the time during the course. And it makes it very interesting because some of these targets are potentially sensitive targets. And we vary it so students who may have a security clearance, may get nervous about targeting these folks, they don't have to. We can adjust it to make sure that it does not put their job in jeopardy any way, shape, or form. No.
Right. Would you mind giving us a mini deep dive into one selected module of the course?
Sure. One that actually, it's a certain module called Open Source Intelligence, and it stretches throughout the whole course. So even though we broach this topic early on, we're practicing it every day throughout the 5 days of the course. So the first thing is to learn how to use these. Well, first is to become anonymous, and to do that, and then to create a persona. A persona online is actually called a sock puppet, but I'll just use the word persona here for this taping. But you create these personas, and you can create more than one. And there's methods and ways we teach people how to create these personas, and you'll stretch this across Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and different areas, so you've got a solid basis for your persona. Once we have that, we start to branch out with the open source tools, where we'll target the social networking sites. We'll start gathering information there based upon a given target in the class. Again, your target may be a nation state. It could be a foreign intelligence service, a hacktivist group, cyber criminal type group. Therefore, the need for anonymity is critical. The open source tools are freely available online. It's amazing what you can gather with this. For within the open source area, you use these tools to actually develop links, and the links that are created in a visual format can help you define if this person is tied to this other person. Are there patterns in their conversation? Do they only post at a certain time of day or night, which may give away their time zone? Different linguistic capabilities you look at, if it's English or some other language, that may identify what part of the country or world they're from. So this analysis is done across tendency, anticipatory, anomaly analysis, trend analysis, link, cultural analysis, historical analysis, and we'll touch upon that in the course. And we use the open source tools to collect the data so you can perform that actual analysis. So the open source tools are great out there. They're changing all the time. They penetrate deeply into these areas. They provide a lot of information about your target, and the targets probably don't even know it. Much like the adversaries are gathering information about us, we in turn gather information about them. So even though it is an intelligence course, the whole idea is basically the countermeasures are really counterintelligence, to deny and deceive your adversary so that they can't penetrate you. So there are areas that we'll discuss in the counterintelligence side of the house. All that is a separate course. But the open source tools will give you a good idea of these methods of data collection. And there's also open source tools for analysis as well. It's quite an interesting course. The students really enjoy it. The live exercises are great. I've even had them target me before in collection exercises. But you have to be careful in that as well, because disinformation and misinformation can be posted online and on purpose to lead you off a track. And so I've actually done that as well, try and take my students down a different path and hope that they don't follow it, but hope it as well that they will follow it, that your efforts have gone down the road of a positive experience for them.
Definitely, definitely. It sounds like an interesting course. It makes me afraid of everything I'm posting online now.
Well, you should be.
From a personal level, yeah, I know, yeah. Absolutely.
The internet used to be, email back and forth and websites, but now it's like sitting in a bar or walking down the street or talking with people in a park. You develop relationships, you share pictures, you share more about yourself than you probably would face to face.
Right.
And so the amount of information out there is enormous. The amount of data to be collected is fantastic.
Right.
The amount of information we can find out about you and others is great. And you'd be surprised what's out there.
Well, it sounds like oh, sorry. Go on.
No, Sarah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I've had, when I've had them target me, I've had marriage certificates dug up, birth certificates, things that I don't even want to mention that I didn't even think was online. You'd be amazed at what's out there. It's not just what you post, but it's also what counties and government organizations, state and federal, will post about you that is not seen to be sensitive. But when you take pieces of data from all these different areas and put it together, you can actually create intelligence out of it. And that intelligence can be used against you.
Absolutely. So Jeff, could you maybe give us an overview of one of the case studies you use in your course?
Sure, I can give you an overview. I can't really give you the targets. Again, the targets are sensitive and only for the students in the class, and we try and have a Las Vegas rules type of class when we deliver these. So usually I'll provide them the targets, although they're open to. I'm open to them giving me targets if it fits, and we'll analyze and take a look at it. Once a target is provided, there's an abstract put together as to what the intent is for that target, what type of information you think you might extract for them. And the target might be too broad, so maybe we'll shrink it down. Or you'll find that as you start the data collection activities, you have to shrink your target. So there was a target that was actually a foreign entity, and the students were they put their anonymity together in the cyber world. And there were some of them that I find that are very nervous about using the anonymity tools. So what we do in this particular case study is we broke up the activities on the team into the cyber intelligence lifecycle. For example, those that were very good in the technical side of the house and could anonymize themselves with their sock puppets and their tool sets, those are the ones that did the passive investigation live in, say, the target's internet relay chat rooms or on their forums and their websites where they start to engage them. And I stress passive investigation because we don't want to tip our hands in an active investigation where you're coming right out and asking blatant questions. So it's a combination of getting accepted into their chat rooms and their forums, asking questions or participating and offering advice or comments or postings in those areas that are not intrusive, that are not going to raise the eyebrow of the folks that are being targeted. So the next section is where they'll collect this information and they'll bring it back in. It's got to be organized and produced in such a way that it makes sense. And this helps you start to put together links and ties together in a chronological format and a method. So they did this with this particular foreign entity and target. They also had some language barriers, so they had to perform some online translations and hope that they got close enough to it. So that'll give you another idea of the target. So there's linguistic issues. There's also some historic and religious type aspects to this. So you've got to have an understanding of some of the religion that corresponds to this target before you actually go in, so you can talk to them or converse with them in such a way that doesn't identify you as being someone who's not necessarily well versed in it. So this, while they're doing the heavy anonymizing and collecting this information, that doesn't preclude some of the other students from using the open source tools to do collection that doesn't require the anonymous activity. It's still a passive collection, but you can use the open source tools to do this. Group is producing it, and then there might be a group that's better at writing and analyzing. In the real world in intelligence, no one does the collection and producing and handling and analysis all together. That's segmented and separated completely. So doing it this way with the teams actually reflects how it's done in the real world. So someone who may be very technical may not be a good writer, and vice versa. So you want your good writers and those that can analyze and put information together to actually do that part of the cyber intelligence lifecycle. I do require them all, though, to participate in the production of the recommendations and the opportunities. So everybody will have to speak at the end as they deliver their presentations on their findings. So this particular case study went out and dug into this particular foreign entity. We're able to find out information as to who they were, where they're located, some of the main players on the site, what their intent was, kind of what their doctrine was with respect to targeting our country. And we gathered a ton of information, about 70 pages worth of information in a report that the students delivered. And some of it's very actionable. We don't share this information outside the group, although some of it probably would be of interest to our own intelligence agencies based on the collection. So these are just, I'm sorry I can't get into real depth and detail on case studies.
That's all right.
They're really reserved for the class. And we do have the Chatham House rules, the Las Vegas rules, and we stress the anonymity and the importance of operational security throughout the course, because you cannot be discovered. If you are discovered, then we pull the plug on anybody involved with that. We pull them all out, and we'll retarget to someplace else, because we just don't want to be identified. Any identification won't go back to a corporate email account anyway. It'll go back to an account at some other non-corporate entity. So it makes it very exciting. The students like it, makes it live, and it's pretty vital in how they do it. And again, there is no other course out there that delivers it this way.
Excellent. It definitely sounds like an exciting course. Thank you so much for your time.
It's been great. Thanks for having me.
Although we just warned you about social media, if you want updates on all of our courses, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and most importantly, subscribe to Secure Ninja TV at youtube.com/Secure Ninja. We promise we won't use your information against you. I'm Alicia Webb. Thanks for watching.
This episode of Secure Ninja is brought to you by SecureNinja.com, a world leader in information security and IT training and certification. Our master instructors will help build you into a highly skilled and marketable security professional. SecureNinja.com, forging IT security experts.